you know, this is a fantastic initiative, and I've been associated with TiE for 3 years now. And a lot of value addition has happened. What you see right now, MyDentist has, is not what it started with. I started MyDentist in 2010 as a company called Total Dental Care, TDC. The company's name still is Total Dental Care Private Limited, right? But at that point, it started off as a small association with a charitable trust whose clinic I started managing. Right? So, most of the things that we've done, we did at MyDentist is something that is published well across. You could just go to mydentist.co.in in the media section and read the story. Right? So my idea was that we can have a session that is, because it's a very small, closed environment, I'd be more comfortable if it's an interactive session, right? So if I can finish off, how much time do I have? How much?
Now I have to be a little softer. It's really low. Yeah. Fine. This is okay?
Yeah.
Right. So, how much time do I have? 45 minutes. So, see, 20 minutes I can just give a briefing of what we do, how we've done, and what MyDentist is right now, and the drivers currently. And after that, I'd be more interested if we can have a more interactive session where we can share information, because I'm also here to learn. So I'll also take something back home, right? So let me be very fast with what we are doing and what MyDentist is. MyDentist essentially is a chain of dental clinics that provides affordable dental care solutions, right? When I say affordable, it's not about just the price aspect of it. Affordability can come in two terms, right? You can have low cost dental services, or you can have easy to pay dental services. We are a mix of both. We do a lot of number crunching on making our services as affordable, as cheap, as price sensitive as possible, so that you can have people who are so we have a lot of auto rickshaw drivers coming to us and getting their sons or daughters for orthodontic treatment. There was a time when orthodontic treatment was just something that, you know what orthodontic treatment is, right? You see braces, right? So it's something that typically was an elite thing. Not everybody could do it because it would run into at least 50,000 rupees. Over the last 2 years, we've done 75,000 orthodontic treatments, 7,500 orthodontic, 7,500 orthodontic treatments. Most of it are for people who cannot afford, right? And we can do that only by doing two things. One is we try to reduce the cost by squeezing the vendor, simplest, right? Showing him economies of scale. And the other side, what we do is we make it affordable by accepting all kinds of payments, right? We are possibly the only healthcare service provider in the country that provides EMI facilities by associating with banks, credit card companies, affiliates, etc., etc. So you can come swipe a card and convert your payment into 12 installments. Now, which hospital allows you to do that? Right? How does it help? I have somebody who wants an implant done, right? His average salary is say 15,000 rupees a month. The implant is going to cost him 50,000, right? At 15,000 rupees with a structured salary and with Mr. Modi's RuPay card, etc., he's got access to bank accounts. He gives me a card, I swipe the card, it gets converted into 18 installments of 4,000 rupees each. It doesn't impact his family. He still can afford my services. That's essentially the crux of what MyDentist stands for. We're here to make dental treatment affordable, accessible, available for everybody. So that's that we started our journey in 2010 with one clinic along with a trust called Kasturba Health Society, where we started managing their clinic for some time. It was successful. We were able to make good money, me and my brother, more than what we were making from our normal business, which at that time was selling dental materials to doctors. This gave us the confidence to go ahead and put 3 more clinics like those. And at that time, what we did was we borrowed a lot of debt. I mean, I come from a middle class family, right? So we don't have assets, we just have friends and family. So you go around, ask people, "Arey, kuch paisa hai kya? Kuch paisa hai kya?" And then at times you tell them, "I'll give you some interest, etc., etc." I remember by mid of 2010, after putting 4 clinics in place, because the first clinic gave me immense confidence, right? I mean, this is the thing that you want to do. There's a lot of money here. You manage one clinic, the whole dynamics are very different, right? You're sitting there at the reception desk, collecting the money. You are the receptionist, you are the assistant. You can't be the doctor because I'm not a doctor, right? So the only person who's on your cost sheet is the doctor who's there, and he also is basically at that point of time on a revenue share. So it was a very nice journey for us, right? In 2010, with one clinic, you go there, you work for some time. Some of the money the doctor takes away, some of the money I take home, and we are all happy, right? Good money. Gave me the confidence, and rather the overconfidence to put 3 more clinics. I borrowed money here and there. I used up 17 credit cards to withdraw cash. Okay, 17 credit cards, and those are the good times. You know, nowadays you don't get those financial services anymore. In 2010, I don't know, people who were active in business at that point would remember that it was a time when personal loans were sanctioned on the basis of track. I don't know whether you relate to it, right? So if you have one personal loan and paying your installments correctly, you can get another personal loan of the same amount sanctioned, irrespective of what your repayment capacity is, right? So in 2010, me and my brother together took 7 personal loans, total debt of close to 40 lakhs, right? And we put 3 more clinics, and so 2010 made around July, we had 5 operational clinics, all of them doing well, but we were not able to service the debt. Right? So surviving but difficult. So to service the debt, we borrowed more money. What do? You don't have a choice, right? You have to survive. So we borrowed more money, we tried to push it. We came somewhere close to break even. That's when the golden moment starts, right? I mean, everybody is lucky. You just have to keep moving your hands. Somewhere you learn swimming and then you start swimming. So around July of 2010, I met a mentor of mine, basically my ex-boss. I used to work for him for a company called Lion Bridge Technologies. This person's name was Anand Lunia. He runs a fund right now with the name India Quotient. So I met Anand Lunia and casually asked me, "What is it that you do right now?" I told him, "This is what I do." He said, "You know what?" And I told him the entire situation. So he's very close. He's been very close to me all the time. He's still a mentor. Is a investor in my business, so he still as a shareholder exists. So I told him this is what I'm doing and this is the current situation. He said, "You know what, you must raise money if you want to grow faster." At that point of time, I come from a middle class background. I did not know what private equity is. I did not know what raising money was. We did not have, or rather I was not knowing that I existed, right? So I did not have the opportunity of sitting across in a wall like this and understanding how it works. So I had no idea of what he was talking about. But still, if somebody, he said that, your problems can be solved. That was enough motivation for me to go to the fund, right? So I go to seed fund and I talk with the board there that, this is what I do. They said, I can incubate this company. We would like to incubate company, make this company into a bigger thing where you have hundreds and hundreds of clinics. I was running 4 clinics in a mess, not being able to service that, and there is on the other side a person who says, you can run hundreds and hundreds of clinics. I said, is that so? He said, yeah, fine, why not? Okay, fine, but no, how? So he said, we'll have to make a business plan. They ran an incubator at that point of time. I did not know what a business plan was. I said, yeah, we make a business plan. Right? So he said, okay, make a business plan and come back day after. I went out of the room, then I called Anand. Abhi business plan banane ko nahi aata hai. Okay? I like what he said, hundreds and hundreds of clinics, but that's about it. So he said, no problem, I'll help you. So he gave me a template. He said, put numbers inside. Think of how many clinics can you put. Everything that you've done, it's the same thing. It's so simple. So fine, no problem, we'll do that. I did that, made a plan. I said, boss, in the next 5 years, I'll put 35 clinics. Right? And to put 35 clinics, I need 2 crores. So I went back to them and I told them, boss, 2 crores is what I require and I want to put 35 clinics. He said, Vikram, why don't you sit outside? You just discuss internally. So I went and sat outside. They discussed something with the board internally. And then after 15 minutes, they called me inside and said, "Good, you know what, Vikram, we can do this, but you'll have to, get incubated. So you'll have to do what we tell you to do. And what we will do is, we will invest 8 crores in the company. Okay. And what we will do is, first is we will pay back all your debt. Okay, we don't want debt on our books. So I'll pay the debt, and then we invest in the company and take this company forward from there and do 8 crores. I was listening, I was like 8 crores. I've never seen, more than 10 lakhs together in a bank account. Okay. So there is this person who saying, I'll give you 8 crores. And that 2 crores also I was giving them full warrant. So with 2 crores, what I wanted to do was actually take the places not on rent, but buy them out and give them as security to the fund. Okay. So they said, no, we took everything on rent, man. With 8 crores, we'll put 30 clinics. He said, but I was putting 35 clinics with 2 crores. I said, no, it doesn't work that way, don't worry. We'll take care of it. I said, fine, now if he's saying so and he's paying my debt, let's do it. Right? So 1st of October we signed the agreement. He said, you want to appoint a lawyer? No lawyer, man. You pay the debt, that's it. No lawyer. Right? I signed everything is over, and so we are now in the incubator. And the next day I come face to face with the board. You have Naveen Bhai Gandhi, Mahesh Murthy, and Anand. And I said, Vikram, all's fine, but this name, Total Dental Care, TDC, doesn't work. I mean, this is not the way it should be. It should be something more catchy, something that one can remember. Fine. Okay. And we have to get on board somebody who's a brand consultant. Fine. So the next day they bought all of the quotations. So you have suddenly a quotation which says, you need to rebrand your name and you need to give a new logo to your company, and for that we require to hire Lemon Design, and you're going to pay 6 lakhs to it. So about 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs for a logo. The guy outside Jumbo Xerox Pandey session did for me for 6,000 rupees. I'm not paying 6 lakhs to it. So no, Vikram, you don't understand. I'll take care of it, right? We pay 6 lakhs to it. If I no problem, let's pay 6 lakhs. No problem, not my money. Right? So we pay 6 lakhs to him, and he's the one who comes back and says, TDC is bullshit. It can't be TDC. Now I'm a little defensive. Like, boss, I ran this business with the name TDC. I'm not changing it, right? So no, TDC is not going to work. So then you have to suck up. You say, fine, you're right. So then he comes up with the name My Dentist, right? I used to hate it. And I said, what, My Dentist is a name? It's not a name, right? I mean, what do I call? Come to My Dentist. It's not what you call it. Is that the name of a business? I said, no, that's not working. He said, no, I like My Dentist. Book the domain. Fine. Let's book the domain. We booked the domain. And then I said, okay, fine, you allow me to brand it then? You will take my inputs and brand it? Yeah. So okay, tomorrow morning we meet again. So he asked me, what kind of colors do you want? So for me, dentistry is always red, white, right? I'm a Colgate user. For me, everything is red. Even dentistry is red and white. And so I said, boss, white for My Dentist लिखेंगे, background red होना चाहिए. Red background, white My Dentist, period. He said, okay, we do that. Okay. 3 days later, there was a board meeting for passing the final brand guidelines. And I see green. Well, I said red, right? I said, no, red's not working. It's not tacky. I said, fine, take it, but green? Well, I don't see this. This is before Garnier, okay? This is before Garnier, this is before Oriental Bank of Commerce, right? This is before this color was used by anybody. I mean, I'm not putting green on my logo. There's no way I'm putting green, right? So there's nothing that is green. I mean, you have a dentist here. Is there anything that is green in dentistry? Nothing is green in dentistry. And of course, it's not happening. Green is not working for me. Still, he said, no, green is, this is it, right? I mean, I'm not changing. You accept it. Green, quite like that. So he accepted it. Then he comes back on the 1st of January, we sit again. And now the fund tells me you have to close down all the clinics. Because this model is not working, right? I mean, you can't have a model where you're working with a charitable trust, you're working the rev share with the doctor, in another place the doctor is working on payrolls. There has to be a standard model, something that is completely simple. For me at that time it was very difficult to digest, right? I said, boss, what do I do with the doctor? No, we retain them. Don't worry. They will sit, they can stay on the payroll, but we shut down all the clinics. Right? Shut down all the clinics. So 1st of February I am without clinics, no business. 8 crore in the bank accounts, one name my dentist and a green color. Right? So that's when I was completely lost. I come back and I ask them, fine, now what do you want us to do? Okay, now we start afresh. Right? Great. Then at that point of time, I had a man-to-man talk with Anand Lodhia. I said, you know what, Anand, because that was being paid off, I was okay. But now I am finding it a little difficult to understand what is happening. So he told me, if you want to make this business larger, it has to be a more process-oriented business, something that is scalable, something which is independent of individuals, independent of the geographies, something that is a cookie pakata, right? I mean, you can have the clinic, whether it's in Guwahati, whether it is in Sri Lanka, whether it is in Mumbai, whether it is in Pune, it's the same thing that is working and you can replicate it with ease, and that is what we are trying to build. I said, look, I'm not understanding. He said, okay, don't worry, you will understand after some time, you just follow. Okay? ज़्यादा सोच मत. ठीक है यार, आप बोल रहे हो तो ठीक है. But that's where the basic fundamental strength of MyDentist was built, right? I mean, today we are in a position where we can set a clinic in 17 days. The day we acquire a space, on the 17th day, the first bill is made. If somebody who's worked with real estate projects, they would know, to get a clinic up and running in 17 days, 1-7, your house wouldn't get painted in 17 days. Right? We paint the house, get the furniture in place, put the equipment in place, get the marketing right, the location right, paint it, get it up and running, the board in place, and on the 17th day, there is a doctor in place, working over there and raising a bill for a patient. And that entire thing happened because we had a guidance which started from scratch and with a basic motive that we want to make a business that was scalable. Okay. And that's what we did. We designed how we wanted to do it, we put a standard operating manual in place, and we built a team. Today, for example, MyDentist is at 103 clinics, which was built over 3 rounds of funding, 2 rounds of funding. So 8 crores that came from Seed Fund, and then we had another 50 crores that we raised from Asian Healthcare Fund and Seed Fund together. So we raised around 58 crores over the last 3 years to set up 103 clinics that currently cater to more than 2 lakh patients a day, a year. We have more than 400 doctors on our payrolls. It's a 1500 people company. Okay. So the fundamental was that a lot of things I learned, and I give all credit to the people who been with me and who have helped me build this. So actually, if you see, the most unimportant person in the whole of MyDentist is Vikram Bora, right? Will you take me out of the system? It doesn't matter. I've got a doctor who does the doctor's job. You have the investor who does the investor's job. The team that we have, the marketing team, was till now headed by a person from Imami. Now we have a new person coming in. We have a HR head who comes from, who's headed FedEx before, who's headed AFL, and was heading the HR for a large company called Radhakrishna Foodland. We have an operations head who was from Cafe Coffee Day. So there is a business team in place, there is a clinical team in place. It's a structure that is smoothly working. And I'm not worried when the clinic's going to open, where it's going to open, and it still works absolutely fine. Right? I don't even go to the clinics anymore. Most of the time I'm free. But thinking of this at that point 3 years back was difficult. That's what the journey is all about. And more I told you, if more details of this are there on the website everywhere. What I wanted to discuss was, the challenges that I faced and what kind of changes have happened in the way I looked at this business over the last 3 years. Yes. Okay. Fine. So, that's okay. What do you do? Okay. So, now let's have a more interactive session. So, if you have any specific questions, I'll be more than glad, and it could be directed to anybody, right? Fine. I mean, okay, right? Is it okay if I have an interactive session? Okay, fine. Yeah.
What's the valuation you got for it?
That's a wrong question to answer. Wrong question to ask. I'm not answering that one. I'm not answering that one. Yeah.
Your early days when you started off, what was the system you had in place for managing employees who valid role you started off?
So what happened was, it's typical for all entrepreneurs who start out, right? And typical for me. So I was the system, right? So I am the receptionist, I am the operations guy, I am the marketing guy, I am the HR person, so I interviewed the doctors, I used to talk with them, and everybody used to tell me that this is wrong. Everybody else in the board. They used to keep telling me, Vikram, what is this? This is bullshit. We need to build a team. We need to build a team. I said, no, what will I do then? Right? I mean, I can do this. So I said, no, we need our marketing guy. No. I'll do it. I said, no, Vikram, you know what? We need to have a person who can design signboards for us. I know for that. Over time, things changed, right? I mean, slowly, I started believing that there has to be some delegation. And fortunately for me, I had the right people with me, in the form of mentors, in the form of guides, who told me that you need people, and we will hire people. And again, fortunately for me, they had affirmative rights. You know what I mean, affirmative rights, right? So they said, boss, we are hiring. So I mean, has it been just me? I was naive enough not to actually employ anybody. I would have never employed anybody, right? And it would have been a disaster. So you're right. Most people are like me. I believe so. So I believe I'm not the only idiot, right? Yeah. So I'm not the only idiot, right? So if I'm not the only idiot, I believe everybody would also think I can also do it. But yeah, I mean, slowly you learn, and you have to have the best. So Anand Lunia once told me a very nice thing. He said, boss, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room, right? So if you don't have smart people around you, you're not doing the right thing. And as a CEO, if you cannot sit in office and read a newspaper, you're not CEO at all, right? So you should be reading a newspaper, and there should be a team doing its work. That's when you've actually created a team. I used to think, these guys talking bullshit, right? I mean, these are all idealistic things. These are all things that you hear every day from leaders. But after a point of time, I started realizing that he was right. But I realized it the hard way. But I think people do better than that. So yeah, you need to delegate.
So what is unique in the business model that you had with respect to dentistry that made it successful in dentistry? Would this model be replicable for other areas? In your mind, you would understand that better than others.
I mean, any business so what are we in the business of? We are in the business of managing a dentist's time, right? What do I sell? Do I have any inventory? My inventory is the time of the dentist, right? I sell that. I don't sell products. We don't sell toothbrushes. We don't sell toothpaste. We don't sell dental products. We sell the time that a dentist spends with the patient. Anything that requires management of human resources, more importantly, the time of human resources, services that are rendered with the help of human resources, primarily, this model can work. So whether it is a hair cutting salon, whether it's a spa, whether it's set of drivers, I don't know. Anybody, anywhere, where delivery of services are through a human being, the same model can work. Same model. And that's again my belief, so I could be wrong.
Going back only very initial days,
That's the only thing that is very good about being naive. You don't go into analysis mode. You just do it. Okay. So thankfully, because I was an idiot, I did not go into that mode. Yeah, and then second thing is, you must believe that you've got nothing to lose. Right? And each stage of my life, thankfully, I was always in a position where I had nothing to lose. Right? I mean, so a lot of people tell me, did you get the term sheet verified by a lawyer? Apna kya jayega yaar? I mean, I keep asking myself, what is the worst that can happen to me? When we got funded or when we went into the My Dentist model, I was earning close to 35 or 40,000 rupees by selling dental materials, right? A month. If you jot down a balance sheet, at the end of it, घर पे इतना पैसा आता है, ठीक है? So somebody comes and says, I'm going to give you 8 crores. अपना क्या रहता है? Right? What can go wrong? How bad can it become? So why hire a lawyer? That poor guy is putting his hard-earned money. He is betting it on you so that you run. Only thing that you can do then is run. You can't question why should I run. Right? Or be specific. Which side do you want me to run? Okay. So that's why analysis paralysis happens, right? You start questioning the premise of why somebody is doing something for you. That's when I don't believe in it. I just do it.
Competition analysis as well.
Again, competition. Where is it that you don't have competition? Where is it that you have this room? So you got people from Wellinger, right? Yeah. So they have competition, right? They sit in the classroom and thinking, "Arey, kal ye company aayega. This guy is smart. I don't know what to do." We have competition all across. So if you keep worrying that should I enter this industry because there's competition there? There are 15 people. Everybody is making money. I'll also make money, right?
Couple of questions. Like you said, you started off by managing clinics. Right? So at that point of time, was just about managing. The focus initially was not on low cost when you started off. Am I right? It was just purely running it profitably.
Wrong thing to say. Not a lot of people would like it, but I'll still say it. But in India, the basic differentiating factor that one starts with is सस्ते में करेगा, right? That's a basic differentiating. So even though you're right that I started with managing clinic, but in my mind I knew that my services will sell only if I sell it for cheap.
Correct. So my second point, so when you went through seed fund, and like you said, like every entrepreneur, you hadn't thought about how big the scale would become.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they saw something.
Yeah.
So in that transition, from managing clinics and managing maybe 35, 40 of your clinics to going to a low-cost dentistry model, accessible, affordable, when did that switch happen?
So that switch was always there. See, I just made it. So somebody did it for us, right? In my mind, I was clear. This is what I wanted to do. The brand guy was able to put it in words, right? Essentially, we're doing the same thing. At a charitable trust, what does one do? Provide charitable services. What is a charitable service? Providing services to somebody who cannot afford. If you are providing something to somebody who cannot afford, essentially you are providing low cost. You are doing that. So while I was thinking that I provide cheap dentistry, the brand guy came and said, smile more and pay less. I said, fine. Right?
Now that you have cracked the process model of setting up a clinic, and certainly you don't have a problem attracting the doctors. Is it a problem managing their aspirations, and how do they progress in the
See, you have to be fair. Unfortunately, the problem is that people, or rather entrepreneurs in India, whether they are clinicians or whether they are non-clinicians, don't share the success with their subordinates, right? In our business, all the doctors who had come early on with us, today each one of them the first 6-7 doctors who joined us are all dental directors, right? Each one of them manage a particular vertical. 7 of them don't even practice. They sit in an office on a bench or on a desk. And so each one of them have a vertical. Like there is a dental director for compliances who's responsible for hiring consultants. So right now you have, so this is a a female dentist who must be around say 31 years of age. BDS, and she's got around 450 MDS of across the specialization reporting to her. Why? Because she was willing to take this challenge and move around with. So you have a person who is again 29-30 years of age, currently the head of HR, right? She appoints more than 50 doctors a month. You have the head of operations, again a dentist, same 32-33 years of age, 400 doctors, 350 assistants reporting directly to her. Right? So indirectly, so you'll have cluster heads. So there is a hierarchical structure, but eventually she's sitting on top of a pyramid that is made up of around 700 people. At this age, who gets this kind of exposure, who gets this kind of power, so whether a clinician or no clinician, they see growth, right? You have to make them see the growth. And believe me, see, firstly, in India, the challenge is that dentistry is a profession where 95% of the people who graduate are all millionaires. But then the reason why I say this, right? Because it's so bloody expensive. I don't know, I mean, the last I heard was that the basic fee structure is 5 lakh rupees a year. I don't know, my friends here would be able to confirm, but yeah, it's 5 lakh rupees a year, right? 5 lakhs rupees a year for 5 years, yeah? 5 lakhs? 25 lakhs? 25 lakhs? You must be kidding me, man. I did my MBA with 36,000 rupees. I don't know, it must be changed now. I have no idea. But this was 10 years back, so we had the good times. But and after 25, so a person can shell out 25 lakhs, has to be a rich person. Right? Of course, he is not interested in working as a normal doctor. So you will have to show, you have to make them feel the bigger version of the story, the larger life cycle of the story. And that person has to start believing that the reward of joining this is the journey itself. Right? And that's what we've been able to do. That's essentially what we've been able to do. And that's where the aspiration gets managed. But at the end of it, I mean, you can't be make everybody happy, right? So some people stay, some people leave. Those who stay grow, take up larger responsibilities. Those who leave, fine. As they say, like Alpha, Mikey, Foxtrot, I know people who know. So, anyways, yeah.
I have a question. Basically, I read somewhere in your story blogs, there was a case study on MyDentist, where I read that most of the consumers don't even, or patients in this case, don't even remember that there was another doctor sitting at the clinic the last time I visited.
Yeah.
So, is that really true, and what has made that change happen recently?
I'll ask you, right? Or let's ask the people in the room. Like, I work with a particular clientele that is, the target audience is essentially middle class, lower middle class. That's the audience that I attend to as MyDentist. Basically, our target audience is that, mind you. That does not mean that we only attend to them. So we attend to nice people here also. So you are all welcome to come to MyDentist. We have people from the Mariwala family to the who's who of Mumbai coming and getting their services done at MyDentist. So, but our communication is directed to this group, which is essentially middle class, right? Now, although most of the people in this room are not middle class, are definitely more than upper middle class, but still I would ask the question, when was the last time you went to a dentist? No, I'm asking a question. When was the last time you went to a dentist?
10 years back.
10 years back. Do you remember his face?
Yes.
I'd be really shocked.
He's my family dentist.
How can there be a family dentist? This person met him 10 years back. He met somebody else in family.
My mother goes to it. So my question is more about if it's the next visit.
Yeah.
That next visit being.
Typically, it's the same doctor. If the same treatment is going on.
Why am I asking this question is essentially looking at the healthcare speciality. I always go by the doctor's name, how experienced is the
Correct.
doctor, and what kind of treatment, and can I really trust him on my dentist?
My experience is counter to that. My experience is very simple that in this domain of dentistry, right, you are right as far as general practice is concerned, it's difficult. It's not impossible, mind you. There are very brilliant people. I mean, Shantanu from Nationwide is being able to do it, HealthSpring is doing it. The disassociation between the bond between a doctor and a patient is a difficult bond to break. And the more intense the relationship is, more difficult it becomes. So, in case of a general practitioner, it's very difficult, right? In case of the dentist, Typically, the average is in India, middle class person, statistically, on an average, visits a doctor, a dentist twice in a lifetime. Twice in a lifetime. How do you expect this person to have a personal bond with this dentist? Yes, you are right that he will go by referrals. Yes, you are right that he will go by what he feels that person's skill is. But the point here is feels. Feels is a perception, and perceptions can be managed.
I wanted an answer for that. How have you managed that perception?
So we do all kinds of activities. Right? We reach out in terms of camps, we do one-to-one activities in societies, we reach out to people, we give them an interface where they come and get a free checkup done. That's where they experience the services. They get to see that, I should not see this, but there are dentists in Mumbai who don't change gloves in between two patients. Why? And so we tell them, you know what, we are changing a glove. This was the glove of the earlier patient. Now, this is your new gloves. Then we show them the instruments that are sterilized. We make them realize that there are a lot of things that you need to learn and you need to see when you go to a clinician so that you are safe. And when they experience it, they start believing in it. And when they start believing in it, they feel the brand stands for it, not the doctor. Right? It's just the engagement part of the story.
The saying that says healthcare and aviation never makes money. My question is, my dentist, when is it going to break? When are you seeing that?
If I was to stop right now, we break it.
I believe it's an asset-like model. There is nothing on real estate.
You stop growing, the day you stop growing, you break even. On an individual clinic level, all clinics are making money. Right? But we have a team, right? We have a 100% corporate team. 100 people. Me included. Right? I draw salary. I draw our salary and it's a good salary, right? Now I deserve. Right? So to me it was adding to the loss. So you get me out of the equation, you get the marketing guy out of the equation, you get the corporate team out of the equation, the clinic will make money. It's about how long or how many units would you require to negate the effect of this corporate team.
100-member team and 104 clinics. So at what? 150?
No, but even at this team is not going to grow any further.
Correct.
So maybe 200 clinics, 175 odd clinics. But it will take time. And you have to live with it. And that's what scale matters, right? And for example, I'll give you an example there. That's a very, again, why I'm elaborating on this point is, it's one of the reasons why people don't continue in the healthcare domain. They lose heart very easily. They lose heart very early. And this comes from a person who's coming from a traditional Gujarati family, right? I mean, today also, there are members from my community who tell me, "Gada hai sala kitna paisa todta hai? Bijara paisa bagane che." People who know in Gujarati would understand. I mean, there are a lot of people who tell us, right? I mean, this is the loss-making unit, right? That's the problem. They won't do it. They run a kirana shop. They run a small-time factory. They wouldn't be able to make a scalable business out of it because they can't think beyond it. Sorry.
And the exit option for the investors is an IPO, or we are looking for a strategic buyout?
It's a good question to ask, and I keep answering that question all the time. Not in the room, but again, all businesses have an exit event that happens. Okay? And when you're talking to an investor, your pitch would be that whatever is the closest. But typically nobody knows what the exit event would be. I'll give an example, right? So Seed Fund had another portfolio company. You all would be aware because it's a very consumer space related company called Redbus. Are you aware about Redbus? Yeah. So Redbus got sold last year at a crazy valuation, right? Some $800 million, right? 800 crores, sorry. At an 800 crore valuation, right? Today, when we look back, there are a lot of people who come and tell me, that guy was an idiot here. SoftBank would have given a $1 billion valuation to him, and he could have raised another $1 billion and made it larger. Right? After Ola's and after Flipkarts and after those things of the world, you had an entity that had 75% market share in the organized bus space in India. Right? It was the thing that was pitched to be the largest thing possible. Did he make an early exit? No. The event comes, you just wait. Right? Again, when you set up a business, you can't start with, because we are not an investor, we are an entrepreneur. Right? An entrepreneur does not start with an exit event in mind. I have a very good analogy. Sometime back, I was having this discussion with somebody, a mentor basically, and I told him the same thing. At some point I'll have to give an exit, right? They said you shouldn't worry about it. It will come, right? Why you should worry is that when you are raising a company that is venture funded, the day you take private equity funding, you must realize that now you are raising a girl child, right? So you love her. Right? You nurture her, you make sure that she gets the best of services. Right? You make sure that she is the best individual that grows up in the world. But at the end of it, remember that you're going to get her married. Right? And you can't raise her thinking that one day I'm going to get her married, and you can't plan for that day. And when she becomes 18, I'll get her married. It'll come. Right? Somebody's going to fall in love with her. Somebody. Right?
Nice one. So this question you said about the difficulty of filling is on derivation. How do you cross that?
Relegation? See, for me it was very simple. Somebody exercised an affirmative vote. so I said, well, I'm not hiring. Who asked you? Fine. Okay. Yeah.
Since your organization has grown almost 100 times in 2 years' time, so what are the challenges now you're facing? In the earlier demerger, you faced some challenges. How it is transformed now?
See, challenges come out every day. Sometimes it's an HR challenge where you know that you're going to keep hiring 50 people. You have to make sure that they will provide the right kind of services. Right? You have to make sure that they are happy. And you can't make everybody happy. It's a universal law. Right? So you have to minimize the damage. Right now, at this point, if you were to ask me what is my biggest challenge is human resources. Right? One of the biggest challenges, as he said, was managing the aspirations of people. Right? Whether it's dentistry or any business, at this scale, the biggest challenge is how do you do that? So the easiest thing to do is you get somebody who can do it. Because I don't know how to do it. So what do? We go to Foodland, Radhakrishna Foodland, we hire the HR head, and then you manage it for me. So now I learned that. But the first time was enforced. No, it's a company operated. Don't ask me about the values again, please. I will not reply.
You are going to say no, I won't. Am I wrong in asking, in guessing that the largest cost element in your 8 crores would be marketing, and the largest cost element in your 50 crores would be human resource? And what kind of budgets you had for marketing over the period?
So no, you're not right. Largest element has always been capex. But marketing does.
Rent, right? You are not.
Yeah, but still the equipment, etc. So if you remove that, yes, marketing. You're right. Because as the people there specified, that it's the bond that you have to disassociate. It takes a lot of money and a lot of effort. So you're right. And it still is. Still marketing is a large part of it.
So what kind of budgets you had in the first year over the period? What percentage?
They keep changing, but it's the largest component. It's the largest component.
Okay, we have time for just 3 more questions. 5 minutes, so 1. 2 more questions. You already had a chance, so somebody didn't get a chance to ask a question. Yeah, 2 and 3.
When you asked the question of what was your differentiating factor while funding, because there are things like Dr. Batraj and you following providing services.
So it keeps getting, whenever you go to the market, every time you go to the market, every time you try to sell your company to an investor, people ask what is the differentiating factor, right? We are very clear that, it depends on what you position and what you've thought. And most business have a differentiating factor. And the entrepreneur knows what the differentiating factor is. It's accessibility, affordability, and transparency. Right? Now today I very, very simply, right? You asked me and I answered accessibility, affordability and transparency. It wasn't this simple when I approached Seed Fund. Sriram framed it for me. You know, you should say this. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you manage the quality control in all the clinics?
Pardon me?
Quality control.
So it's again, we have a standard operating, so it has to be a process-oriented model. We go by a Bible, which is our standard operating manual. Every person who joins us has to go through 1 month of training. Everything that happens in the clinic is monitored by an audit team, and the audit team is very nasty, with a zero tolerance. They sack a lot of people, right? They are responsible for a lot of people crying in the clinics. But they make sure that everybody works within the domain of that standard operating manual. We don't step out of it, right? So that makes sure that so once you decide what the standards are, all you have to do is adhere to those standards and do everything that is required to do that.
The most, I guess, from when you started off and where Seed Fund saw you, there was a huge gap. I mean, what they saw and what you saw. Can you just share your journey, how you bridge the mental gap? Because from 3 years, 4 years back, or when you said, you wouldn't have emphasized such a way.
Right.
Today you're speaking that language.
Right.
I'm sure the mental journey would have been very interesting from here to...
It's amazing, right? So I am very sure that I learned more over the last 3 years than what I've learned in the last 31 years. Right? It was fantastic. So every day you go and somebody teaches you something new, right? And the good part was that I realized early on that, you know, I don't know anything, right? And one of the reasons is that I had fantastic investors. Instead, I still have them. Okay, so so when you have Mahesh Murthy, you can't debate with him on marketing, right? When you have a person like R. Sriram happens to be a founder of Crossword, and if he's talking about retail, you keep your mouth shut, right? And you have a person called Praveen Gandhi who talks about raising funds, you still shut your mouth. And then you have on the other side a person who's exited from a large company, worked for a large company, so so Anand Dunia was the other person on board, who was who's founded a company called Brain Visa, sold it for a lot of money, made a lot of money, worked for 5 other companies, and then was working as a partner with Seed Fund. Again, a brilliant guy. So there again, you can't actually argue with him on operation and how a business can be run. So you just listen and you sit, you listen, and you realize how they are helping you manage the business, and you learn. And it doesn't end there. AHF brought on board a person called Mr. Shailendra Tandon. Okay. He is financial results, right? I mean, he does fantastic things. You should see our control systems right now. They are completely set up by them, right? You have access to people. So when we started off framing our brand, My Dentist, it was first seen, and it was first, my first word of advice for branding came from meeting I had, which Praveen Bhai organized with Alok Nanda and company. I don't know, a lot of people if people know Alok Nanda and company. ANC is one of the biggest branding agencies in India. Pardon me? Free! That's what I'm trying to say. Most of the resources are free if you are with the right people. Right? That's where the fund actually bought in the value. Right? You work with the best of people, you get to know the best of things, you shut up and you learn. It's so simple.
Okay, unfortunately we are running out of time. And I know there are a lot of more questions, but I believe Vikram, you will hang around for a little bit, knowing the tea break, to meet with people. So thank you so much, Vikram, for sharing your wonderful